History of my oldest ancestors of whom I am very proud. July 13, 1190, Dom Gualdim Pais, my 26th great-uncle, noble medieval knight, monk warrior, founder and settler of the town of Tomar, knight of the Order of the Templars, 4th Grand Master of the Portuguese Templars, who fought on Earth Santa, after an epic effort and a lot of fighting, with the help of the Knights Templar, manages to repel the Muslim army of Almanca and win the battle, liberating the castle of Tomar. Dom Gualdim Pais, noble medieval knight, warrior monk, founder and settler of the town of Tomar, knight of the Order of the Templars, 4th Grand Master of the Portuguese Templars, fought in the Holy Land, was born in Amores, in 1118 and died in Tomar, October 13, 1195, Friday, was the son of Dom Pio Ramirez and Dona Gontrade Soares, paternal grandson of Dom Ramiro Iris and Dona Teresa Perez and maternal grandson of Dom Sohairo Pais Correa and Dona Yaraca Oriz Gadeo. Dom Gualdim Pais was born in Amores, a Minho town near Braga, in 1118, son of the noble Dom Pio Ramirez, my 27th grandfather, 7 times my grandfather, and Dona Gontrode Soares, my 27th, twice my grandmother, noble knight medieval, monk warrior, knight of the Order of the Templars, 4th Grand Master of the Portuguese Templars, fought in the Holy Land and was an extraordinary military strategist. Very early he entered the court of Countess Dona Teresa de Portucali, where he was educated side by side with our future first king Dom Afonso Henriquez, as well as the nephew of Dom Pio Mendes, Archbishop of Braga and the most important Portuguese cleric. Dom Gualdim Pais, at the age of 21, began his military career as a warrior, alongside his king Dom Afonso Henriquez, accompanying him in the Battle of Urique, where after the battle, he was made a knight by the king's own sword, after glorious deeds in this fight. During the period of clashes between Dona Teresa and her son Dom Afonso Henriquez, in the Battle of Salmainde, Dom Gualdim Pais played a discreet role in these disputes, given the close links between mother and son involving his proximity to both. At that time, he visited the Iberian lands of Hugo de Payens with the purpose of recruiting knights for the Order of the Templars, recently created at the Council of Troyes, where Saint Bernard of Clairvaux was in charge of creating its rules. All this, after the First Crusade in 1099, which gave rise to the Order of the Knights Templar, which in its origins were just 9 knights. And there are sources that state that one of these knights would be of Portuguese nationality. These Templars were called Poor Knights of Christ, having taken vows of poverty and chastity. Its first headquarters, according to history, were the basements of Solomon's Temple, in the Holy City, where the stables would have been, which were huge and could store more than 1,000 horses. However, it was before Portugal was born that Dona Teresa made the first donation in 1126 to the Templars, which was the land of Font Arcada, located in the current district of Viseu. Later, the same sovereign donated the castle of Sauer to the Order of the Temple. At this time, Dom Gualdim Pais already shared friendship and reciprocal trust with Dom Afonso Henriquez, all this after the Battle of Urique and the Treaty of Zamora that recognizes the first Portuguese border. Dom Gualdim Pais, following orders from his lord, continues the fight against the Moors and with around 120 men conquers Santarém using an unprecedented strategy of night ambush. What was at stake was the maintenance of consolidating our borders with the Tagus lines. In pursuit of this intention, the warrior Dom Gualdim appears integrated among 15,000 Portuguese, in an army of 30,000 men, which advances towards Lisbon, with the same city surrendering after 4 months of terrible siege. Historical facts are reported among historians of the time, alluding to the exploits of Dom Gualdim Pais, mainly in the context of the numerous attacks on the great fortress that was Lisbon. Recalling that the Order of the Temple was founded on January 14, 1129, when Dom Afonso Henriquez claimed to be a Knight Templar. At the time, Pope Innocent I granted great new privileges to the Knights of the Temple through the bulls Militis Templi and Milites Dei. Returning to the figure of Dom Gualdim and entering a supposed second phase of his life, it is a Templar Master Bernard de Tremolay, who in a secret chapter consecrates Dom Gualdim Pais as a Knight Templar, shortly before his official departure for the Holy Land. This question is considered to be of little veracity by several historians. The most accepted version is that Dom Gualdim is a Templar invested in Jerusalem, in the Holy Land. But all these theories are still contested today with more or less historical facts. In the Holy Land, the first major battle in which Dom Gualdim Pais distinguished himself was in the Siege of Ascalon, where Dom Gualdim was miraculously saved. The 40 Knights Templar who accompanied him were beheaded after entering the city, with only our Portuguese warrior escaping in a way never described, who nevertheless left there highly prestigious and respected for his deeds. Still in the Holy Land, Dom Gualdim Pais continues his fight, participating in the siege of Gaza and the attack on Sidon. After 5 years of daily struggles, covered in glory, the story goes that Dom Afonso Henriques once again claims his services. Dom Gualdim returns to Portugal and is the great hero of the conquest of Alcácer do Sal in 1158, accompanied only by 60 men who he managed to introduce into the fortress, once again in a strategy still secret today. In Alcácer do Sal and during the fighting, the Templar Grand Master of the time, Dom Pedro Arnaldo, died. Dom Afonso Henriques did not hesitate and named Dom Gualdim Pais 4th Grand Master of the Portuguese Templars. After Alcácer, the king donated the terras de Serras, which included the entire municipality of Tomar and beyond. Dom Gualdim, then based in the region, then looked for a place where he could build a solid fortification, choosing the city of Tomar and founding his castle there, which would also be the headquarters of the Templar Order. This fortress was built on the ruins of the Roman city of Celium. Thus, on March 1, 1160, Tomar Castle began to be built, with the Grand Master granting this city its first charter in 1162. But Dom Gualdim knows that it is necessary to quickly build more fortresses to defend a territory 100 kilometers long and 40 kilometers wide. Thus, in 1171 the castle of Almirall was born, in 1172 the castle of Monsanto, 1174 the castle of Zezere was built, of which today only ruins remain, and it was also in the same year that a charter was granted to the castle of Pombal. Other castles were built as part of a defense strategy along the entire Tagus line. There would be much more to mention about this Grand Master, monk and knight. We refer to the fact of greatest historical importance in the consolidation of what is now Portugal, the last major battle of Dom Gualdim Pais, which was on July 13, 1190, the siege of the city of Tomar. This siege, where 900 Almoravid warriors, commanded by the King of Morocco, Almanca, besieged the city of Nabao, pillaging everything around it. Inside the fortress there would be no more than 200 men, including Knights Templar and other popular warriors, and Gualdim Pais, a 72-year-old warrior, after an unequal fight near the Almedina Gate, the main entrance to the fortress of Tomar, managed to repel the Moirama, putting an end to a siege, which lasted 4 days of violent, completely unequal fighting. This Gate of Almedina, due to the much blood spilled there, is today known as the Gate of Blood. 5 years later, and on October 13, 1195, D. Gualdim Pais died, being buried in the Romanesque church of Santa Maria do Olival, where a small fortress had been built before the foundation of the castle. Also in this church, most of the masters of the Knights of the Order of the Temple were buried. Their tombs have disappeared without a trace, and that of Dom Gualdim Pais himself is empty. Only dust is stored there. Family. Dom Gualdim Pais was the son of Dom Pio Ramirez, my 27th grandfather, 7 times my grandfather, who married twice. His first wife was Dona Uro Ana Martins, my 27th, 7 times my grandmother, with whom he had. Dom Vasco Pais, mayor of Coimbra, married to Dona Ermezenda Martins, my 26th grandparents, 7 times my grandparents. From his second wife of Dom Pio Ramirez, Dona Gontrade Soares, my 27th, twice my grandmother, he had. Dom Gualdim Pais. Dom Gomes Pais de Piscos, married to, unknown. Dona Sanchar Pais, married to Pio Gomes Gabre, my 26th grandparents, twice my grandparents.